kind of like getting a good night's sleep versus staying up all night and working. Well, yeah, it's true. You got a little more time, but your whole day is wrecked. Better get a good night's sleep, wake up tomorrow and just conquer. And it's the same way with exercise. It's kind of investing in yourself. And then what you put out after is like tremendous.
Welcome to the Carl Rand Show, a weekly podcast designed to dig into the lives of everyday people. People who are making a positive impact, people who have risen above and overcome obstacles. Insights and stories from ordinary individuals who inspire us all towards the truly extraordinary. Here's your host.
Hey, it's Carla. I just got to talk to fitness and nutrition coach Shimon Weissman, and he used to eat nothing but basically like sugar when he was a kid. He refused to eat vegetables, any of that kind of stuff, but he's completely transformed his life now, and he's feeling so good, so energized. He's able to now run a 5-minute mile, and he's just like totally dominating in that area, and he's trying to help other people do the same thing. He had a really cool story about how he got bit by a copperhead snake, not once, but 3 times. And there's so much good stuff in this podcast interview, so many things that he shared that are going to be super helpful for you. And really his message to the world is to do as much as you can and reach those goals that you have and don't stay stuck. So let's get into it. All right, well, I have Shimon Weissman with me today, and I'm excited to have you here, Shimon. So thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Carla Rand Show.
Thank you, Carla. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. I've seen your previous shows and enjoyed them, and I'm just so happy to be here with your audience.
Yeah, thank you. And it was sort of funny how we connected because I think you sent me a friend request. And I think it was just because, you probably saw my fitness stuff, whatever, and you're a fitness and nutrition coach. You're from the States. And so I remember I asked you all these questions before, like, I would be your friend. I was like, and it was funny because when I talked to you after, Shimon, you're kind of like some people would be put off by that and they're like, okay, I'm not going to bother like trying to be this person's friend on Facebook because they're just a pain. But you just like, you answered the questions. You're like, because I was like, what do you do? Like, what kind of people do you work with? And so it was really cool. And so then I guess like you started following me, I started following you. And so then we just kind of like got to know each other. Of course, how else do you get to know each other with, with the pandemic, with COVID, other than online, right? But anyways, it was really kind of cool just to like get to know you and talk to you. And then afterwards we were talking and you said something about, when I asked you all those questions, you said, what did you say? Curiosity is a sign of intelligence. So I was like, whoa, he's telling me I'm smart. That's so good to hear. So anyways, everybody always likes to hear that they're smart. So that was kind of cool. But anyways, Shimon, I want to kind of like let the audience just sort of get to know you a bit. So you're from the States, you're a fitness and nutrition coach. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Whatever you kind of want to include, like, when you were a kid, your family, whatever that looks like.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm from Passaic, New Jersey. That's where I was born. So for anybody that doesn't know, that's right near New York. Okay, so that gives a little bit of a location. So yeah, we grew up there. It's also cold, not as cold as by you guys.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a religious Jewish community and practiced, all my life. Now I'm 20. I just turned 28, and we moved, my wife and I, to Georgia, which is another place in America, and basically. So I grew up and went to all the private schools, the Jewish private schools, and where that ties into fitness is we always played sports, and as a kind of mechanism to get ahead in sports and kind of watching, I wouldn't say my idols, but like people that I enjoyed watching on TV, I realized that to get like them, I had to get stronger. So I started rudimentarily exercising, but I didn't really know what I was doing. But it started the passion, so it gave me an outlet going forward.
Nice.
So then basically I went to college also in America and studied psychology there. And that was like a huge tenet of my approach with personal training and nutrition, is that I learned to understand deeper causes for things. So even though that there are like these clear positives about exercise and nutrition, there's the kind of these underlying things that, getting to know them really helps a ton. So that was amazing. Had a great time there. And I'd say like my personal training and like really fitness journey started when I was in my early 20s, like 23 or so. And it was kind of like just, I had always exercised a little bit, but I never took it to the next level. And the impetus for me was that I was actually feeling kind of weak. Like physically, I was just feeling weak, and I would get out of breath a lot. I had asthma, I had really bad allergies. And I was able to play sports, but like I just didn't have strength, and it kind of ate at me. And also, so it came from like this place of like, I need to overcome, I need to struggle. Mm-hmm. And that is actually going to be the key to success going forward. But then I just started researching online good exercises, following other people's exercises. And I really threw myself into it. And this is key. Like, I committed. I said, I want this. I want it fully. I'm not going to go in halfway. And I'm going to put in 3 months of insane effort. So I did that. And I was shocked. After just a month or two, my body changed dramatically. I loved what I saw. And then people started asking me, hey, Shimon, can you train me? Like, what? Like, that's pretty cool. So then it started like, oh man, I better research this. I better become educated and qualified. So then I had a love for learning, became curious about everything there was, nutrition and fitness. And till this day, every day I spend time just learning, new nutrition principles, new exercises, athletic exercises. And so that helped me build up. And then over time, I learned a lot of other things that built up, but we'll get into that, I'm sure, later.
Yeah. So, okay. So you grew up, it was kind of interesting, actually. We have a lot of similarities because I grew up in Christian schools. Well, I was homeschooled and then I went to like small private Christian school. Basically, yeah, my whole life. I actually never went to public school. Yeah. And I had an opportunity kind of, I just didn't want to. I was happy with what I was doing. And I actually went to boarding school for grade 12, which was also like more of a Christian boarding school. But anyways, so, kind of similar. So that's cool. So like what got you, so you wanted to be strong. And I'm curious, what did you do in those 3 months where you were like, whoa, where you were blown away? Because now I'm super curious. I'm like, okay, how did you get there? What did you do? And what did you notice? What was happening? Was it strength training? Was it cardio? Was it a combination? And did you have training or did you just do your own thing and research it on your own?
Gotcha. So basically, beforehand, I was just going to the gym a couple times a week and just seeing everybody else get success. And I felt like I kept doing this. So why is it not happening for me? And I was frustrated. And then I started researching online. That's what it is. So one thing I've always been good at is I've been able to find people who really know what they're talking about. And so that's one of the ways I found you, actually. I forgot how I saw you on social media or something, but I'm like, wait a second. There's something about her. She's infectious. She's got the energy. I want to know this person. So that I was able to do that online, and I found people that really knew what they were talking about in fitness, various people. Yeah. And then I put their practices together and made a program that was athletic, that was strength-based, that had cardio, that had flexibility, stretching, and tying them with complex exercises, and tried to make like it wasn't so good at first, but I rudimentarily tried to make portions where each portion there's like a foundation building, and then there's like an accelerated phase, and then there's like a power phase, etc. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I just went in and I said, I'm going to do this 5 times a week, and I don't care what happens. So I remember there were days where I had to crawl out of bed because I couldn't use my legs on my arm to go at it. And there were times where I was exercising and everything was sore. And I was like on my knees just trying to do stuff. And at the end of the day, it worked, and it worked really fast.
Wow. So you just pushed yourself. And so did you do most of this in the gym then, or were you at home doing these workouts?
I was at home. I was at home. I occasionally go to the gym. I mean, I haven't been to a gym now in years. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I'll go one time just for a change of scenery, because I think that's important, like for motivation purposes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll use the forest or whatever, but I just love being in a new place.
Yeah, and it's funny because I didn't necessarily intend this podcast to get all about fitness and nutrition. I kind of wanted it to be like your story, but I want to go there a little bit because sure. I think that, and I think we've talked about this maybe once or something, that people that go to the gym, and I'm not saying there's definitely a place to go to the gym and have the equipment, whether it's at home or in your gym, but you tend to put yourself in one situation, right? So maybe you're doing a leg press. So you put yourself on the chair, you have your legs up and you press it and you go through one range of motion, extending the knee and then flexing it back again. And that's all you're doing, right? And I'm thinking, okay, in real life, typically when you're doing stuff like a squat or something, you have to use balance, it's going to be more functional. So I think where there's a place for the gym, definitely there's a place for the gym, but I do feel like most people, if they want to get functionally strong, they don't need the gym equipment. I think that's a huge myth that people are believing, that they have to go to a physical gym in order to get in shape. And that's totally not true. You have some dumbbells, maybe a medicine ball, you have an exercise mat, you've got your body weight, maybe some sort of a pull-up bar. Boom. You don't need a whole bunch of fancy equipment. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. In fact, my personal transformation, and 80% of it happened in those 3 months. And that was at home. I mean, I went to the gym a handful of times.
Mm,
Like if they literally, I needed something for the exercise and I didn't have it, it would happen one out of every 10, 15 exercises.
mhm.
And but the one thing that is really required, I think, is a soft surface. So that could be like ameliorated by using a yoga mat. I like to have like a long, like 15-foot tumble mat that's super thick.
Mhm.
But yeah, so because it's so important for ab exercise, for jumping exercise, you don't want to hammer your knees, your joints. You want these things for life, baby.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm so much about that too. It's like, hey, we can work out now and we can go crazy. And like, I've gone crazy. And I was talking to you how I was actually like a little bit sore. And people that are, that are on Power Fitness Online, like my members, they're going to hear me say that in probably the next couple of workout videos that I'm kind of stiff and sore, and a little bit in my joints because what I was doing is I was just trying to lift too heavy too soon. The other thing I do is I make sure I have good cushiony shoes and that I'm in, yeah, soft surface. I remember when I was going to work out, like I was going to teach workouts and I was going to different halls, like rural halls, and I would look at the hall, and if there was like a tile floor, I'm like, no, like I can't teach in here. It has to have a wood floor, or it has to be something that's got some give. You can't be teaching on concrete, tile, that kind of stuff. It's just going to blow out your knees, blow out your hips, your feet. You're just going to be a mess. And I would say that to runners too. There's a lot of runners who run on pavement and concrete, and I'm just like, guys, like maybe you could do that for a while, but it's going to catch up with you. Like you got to run on a soft surface, even on gravel roads, because we live out in the like in the county in the
Oh
sticks.
wow, that's
So
beautiful.
even on a gravel road, like I don't run on the track where it's been packed. I run on the side. You know?
I'm in full agreement with that. And in
Yeah.
fact, it's hard to find a runner who doesn't have messed up knees or ankle, and it's such a pity because they're doing the right thing. They're trying so hard. And what I'm about and what I try to really give over is that we want this for life. I want it for the next 100 years. I'm
Yeah.
not at it for the next photo shoot. And
Yeah.
each year I'm getting stronger, and it's not a reversal. So I just yeah,
Mhm.
full agreement.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I'm gonna be 40 this year, and people say like, "Oh, you're kind of getting up there, Carla. Like your life's half over." But I'm like, you know what? Like, it is true that as you age, there are certain things. Like, you're probably not gonna go ride a bull, or you're probably not gonna go like do some like jump off some crazy stuff or whatever, because you want to save that. But at the same time, like, there's no reason why you can't be super fit basically until you can no longer move those body parts, right? So I think, yeah, but again, like it's about sustainability, right? Totally about sustainability. What does exercise do for you though, Shimon?
Sure. So that's an amazing, amazing question. So it's the world to me. It's everything. It's the type of thing that if it wasn't like if I wasn't even paid for it, if it wasn't even my job, and if it wasn't even good, I'd still do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what it does for me. Okay. So it's for me, it's a vehicle to triumph over the past, and it's a vehicle to make myself better. It's a vehicle to increase confidence. It's a vehicle for mental acuity as we age, which is maybe the only thing to show increased brain function over time and to help reduce dementia is physical activity. I want to take that one point back about dementia because nutrition's involved as well, but we'll get to that. It's an ability to deal with stress, like going in and doing a great exercise. Afterwards, my mood is totally different. So it's a mood regulator. It's a happiness wellspring, and it's in a vehicle to make your body look outstanding and to acquire tremendous health and energy. And I know that you have that energy too, and it's so nice to be around.
Yeah, it's funny because I talked to like Nikki, my media gal, and I like people are always telling me, where do you get your energy from? You have so much energy, like and I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't be just selling fitness and nutrition. Maybe I should be selling energy. I'll do this like placebo effect. I'll bottle up these little pills and I'll be like, here, buy this energy pill for $200. You'll be just like me. No, no, but
I'm down. I'm down.
but it's so true. You exercise, you work out to gain energy. It doesn't sap you from energy. It doesn't
Yes.
suck it from you. It creates it in you. And that's something that it takes a while to figure that out sometimes because it doesn't make sense to a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a wellspring of life and energy. And I don't feel like I've given away time. It's kind of like getting a good night's sleep versus staying up all night and working. Well, yeah, it's true. You got a little more time, but your whole day is wrecked. Better to get a good night's sleep, wake up tomorrow and just conquer. And it's the same way with exercise. It's kind of investing in yourself. And then what you put out after is like tremendous.
Yeah. So what do you say about like, Shimon, you are a vegan, correct? Would you say
Yeah. Yeah,
100% vegan or kind of
I consider myself a vegan, but in reality, I have one meat a week,
okay?
about like 4 ounces or so. And occasionally I'll have a little more, and occasionally I'll have a little bit less. But
Okay.
yeah.
So why don't you tell us your kind of story. And I'm not vegan, by the way, but I'm open to other people's opinions and perspectives. So, I'm not going to like shut you down if you talk about that vegan's done really good things for you. I'll be okay with that. So, tell us a little bit, like, or tell us quite a bit, whatever you want, kind of your story. What got you to, because obviously you weren't vegan when you were a kid, but you are now.
Oh, no.
So, how
Yeah.
did that whole journey go for you?
Okay, so I actually have a great story with this because I grew up having no clue about health and nutrition. Like if you could imagine somebody doing all things wrong, that was me.
Okay.
Okay, I never was heavy, but it had many negative effects on me, and I'll talk about it after I tell you what I ate. So what I used to eat as a kid, it was fruity pebbles. I don't know if you have them in Canada. Donuts, pastries, danishes, white bagels with cream cheese and lox, and chocolate milk, and not Twizzlers, sour sticks. I don't know if you guys have that. Um, and for a Shabbat meal, it's on the Sabbath, we have like a family meal. So I wouldn't even eat what my mom prepared for the family, like chicken and potatoes. No, that was too healthy for me. She had to cook me a piece of meat in onion soup mix gravy. That's like the powdered form of MSG, and no vegetables. No, God forbid. In fact, I didn't have a green leaf until I was 21 years old. Not one single one,
Oh my
even by
goodness.
accident.
I did not know that. This is crazy. This is
Yeah.
blowing my mind. How do you get through life? Like, if you would have been my kid, I would have like given you I don't know. I wouldn't have shaken you up, but I would have been like, you eat that. How did you get away with that? Was your mom just like, she was pretty like accommodating or what?
I, I think I was just incredibly stubborn. I mean, I gotta, apologize to my parents. I'm sure it was. No, I
Wow.
think it's as simple as that. I was very close-minded.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear, I just didn't want to hear it. I was just like, no, I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna eat this meat. I'm gonna eat this pastry, and it just feels so good. And that was it. And of course, I didn't know that there's chemical processes going on in my brain when I have a Danish or I have a chocolate chip cookie that's addictive, and the sugar makes me want to crave more. And then I think I don't feel like I'm full because there's the food craving, a food addiction from the properties of the food itself. So I think I'm not full, so I keep eating, and it doesn't register with the volume system of the stomach, which normally says you're full if you're eating like a whole food or something. So I didn't realize it, but I was addicted to food without knowing.
Hmm. That's so interesting. Yeah, that's so interesting because, and I think it's really important because there's going to be parents listening right now and they're like, that's my kid. My kid is just like Shimon. What do I do with that little brat? And I think, like, man, it's so important. And I always tell parents, like, get your kids eating this stuff. And if they're not used to eating vegetables and stuff, it's very difficult at first. But you can cook broccoli. Like, this is what I do often. I'll steam the broccoli till it's almost mushy and I'll put quite a bit of cheese on it. And the kids just yummy it up. They're like, the pot is just gone. They want more, right? And it's not even a ton of cheese, it's just a little bit of grated cheese. And they just, like, they love it. So I think there's a lot of ways to, at least initially when they're transferring over. I don't put cheese on broccoli all the time now, but like when they're transferring over, you can do stuff like that to kind of disguise it and then gradually take stuff away. Like there is ways to get your kids to eat it, but it can be difficult.
That's brilliant, actually. I'm a big fan, and that was huge in my transition when I moved over. And I'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to address forward some of the problems with the way I was eating. So was it just like, okay, I ate that way, but there was no effects? No, there were effects. There were big effects. So first of all, I had asthma. Okay, so whenever I tried to exercise, even when I was exercising for the 3 month stretch, I would get out of breath a lot. I would like a wheeze and have a lot of congestion in my nose, a lot of mucus, and it messed up with my training. Right, I want to be super fit. This is clearly holding me back, and also my energy level was pretty low. So okay, yeah, I did the exercise, but I was wiped, and I would be tired, sometimes during the day. Oh yeah, I would fall asleep during the day by lunch. All right, I was like 16, 18 years old. That should not be happening. So and also my mental focus wasn't so good in school, and trouble paying attention. And I thought that's just the way it is, but I didn't realize the role that nutrition played in that. And then sure enough, once I switched over, and the way I switched over is I actually just started researching nutrition because I'm like, hey, I'm this personal trainer now. Okay, I'm lifting weights and getting people strong, but what about health? Like, what about actual nutrition? Does it play a role? I didn't even think it plays a role. And then I started becoming educated. I watched stuff from Colin Campbell. I watched stuff from Dr. Furman. Who else is there? Dr. Popper. Dr. Ethelson, and I was just amazed. Oh my goodness, there's a world of nutrition here that's so important, and I just dove in all the way. And yeah,
Cool. Yeah, and I think it's important too, like what you said, because a lot of people are like, okay, my kid is obese, so they'll reach out to me. My kid is obese, can you help them? And then a lot of parents, too, adults, right? Like, I'm obese, can you help me? But you know what obesity does, or like gaining weight does? It can actually be a gift, because when people get overweight, they actually say, I need to do something. But when people have the more of that ectomorph body type, like the type of body type maybe that you have, and a lot of people, right, they can eat whatever they want, they never gain a pound. In a
right,
way, like that can be a gift in that, oh, they still look okay. But often things can go because they don't notice, people don't notice that they must be eating unhealthy in the same way,
right,
right? So it's like
yeah,
they can hide kind of, and nobody knows how unhealthy they are and how much their mind is messed up, their focus, their concentration, all the rest of it.
yeah. That's a perfect point. It's a guise because I look healthy and I looked like I was working out, but in reality, my sleep patterns were off and all those things that you mentioned. And most likely, they were probably starting the early stages of clotting in the blood vessels, and building up fat in the inside the around the lungs and the blood vessels. I'm sure that was happening. I just didn't think about it. So basically, I saw this information about nutrition, and I, on a dime, okay, we switched. To my wife's credit, it was the eve of Sabbath, right? So Friday evening. So we got to cook all our food beforehand, so we have something to eat. And I'm like, Adina, we're going vegan, like we're switching. And to her credit, she just ran to like the grocery store, picked up some stuff. I don't even remember what she made. And then over time, I started realizing, okay, so it's actually not just about like going vegan or whatever. It's about eating healthy. So what does that mean? All right. That's thrown around all the time. All right. So what I've come to see, and in my opinion, what it is whole foods, plant-based. So that would be like sweet potatoes, broccoli, kale, arugula, spinach, mushrooms, whole grains, rice, brown rice, that is, beans, fruit, nuts, seeds, water, so then over time I started committing to that when I realized, hey, I'm not going to have that processed food. I want the real stuff. I want the stuff that God grew in the earth that we didn't change. And I want that stuff. And when I started inculcating that in my diet, so the asthma disappeared, the allergies got significantly lessened. Still waiting for them to disappear. I'm excited for that, but significantly lessened. My sleep patterns got better. My focus got way better. My energy went like through the roof. Like I honestly, I'm working out 5 times a week. And then 2 small workouts. So no, sorry, 4 full workouts and 2 small workouts. And I would do a 7th, but I know that I'm just going to demolish my limbs if I do that.
Mhm.
So, and I'm training other people, and I'm running here, running there, taking out my dog, taking her on runs. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is available. Imagine if I had this when I was a teenager, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think it's so important that you talk about whole foods, because there are such a thing, like people are like, oh, it's gluten free or it's vegan or it's whatever. But then you go like it's a packaged good, right? Like gummy bears are probably vegan, right? Or maybe they're like there's a lot of foods that are like they're not healthy at all. They're not whole foods at all, but they are vegan or gluten free. So I think we can't just put that label on something and assume it's good for us. I think it's so true. Like the closer your food is to where it came from, the healthier it typically is, right? Less processed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like humanity has had a rebellion against the responsibility of eating healthy for like the last 100 years or so. And we're always trying to find like these fads and these tricks to kind of get around having to eat the broccoli, or getting around, having to figure out how to make yummy, healthy dishes, and just try to like, oh, let me try this Twinkie diet, or let me try like just throwing out something
I heard
silly.
of like there's like a potato, is it potato soup diet or potato diet, and then a cabbage soup diet, and then there's and people eat smoothies and they take all these supplements, like they're not even eating real food, and
Right.
yeah, so I get it.
Right. Yeah. Like smoothing everything. Like there's no tricks. There's never been any tricks. There's no easy way. Like the world was designed for us to succeed. God made us as incredible creatures, and our body in its infinite wisdom operates extremely well, but we have to give it the right stuff. But we load it with garbage. We load it with things that will wreck our joints, will wreck our heart. We're suffering as a country with a lot of obesity, a lot of heart disease, a lot of dementia, cancer, diabetes, atherosclerosis. I mean, we're getting wrecked. We're getting wrecked, and it doesn't have to be that way, and it wasn't always that way.
Hmm.
And I understand that it's hard. Like, and you mentioned an amazing point that when you're transitioning to healthy, put that cheese on the broccoli. Like it's okay. Like when I was first doing it, that's what I did. And then That helped me get healthy. That helped me get to like, okay, now I can go ahead and just eat some sort of vegetable dish that my wife makes, who's amazing and is actually a personal chef. So yes, it's a little bit extra.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm like, here you're talking about this, eating all this good food, but you have this like wife that's making you like probably such tasty dishes. It makes me like, yeah, like I wish she could come visit me. But anyways, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that definitely is a perk. But the cool thing is it wasn't always that way. Okay. She used to cook. Okay, it's a good thing she's not on the show. It was just average or a little bit below average. And then, I know I'm gonna get some flack for that. But then when we went healthy, she had to learn a whole new chapter. And she to her credit, went in on it, researched things, looked up cookbooks, and she discovered that she has a tremendous talent for cooking and
Wow.
creativity. So she's making all these cool chilies. She's making her own whole wheat sourdough bread from her own starter with no yeast. And there's a lot of bounty to be had. We just have to get over that initial step of like, yeah, this is not what we're used to. Our parents didn't cook like this. Our grandparents didn't cook like this. But we can be the ones to start it. So just give a little quick story if I can
Yeah.
about including healthy food slowly. So I'm super passionate about this because I literally went through this. Like you said, I was the kid who just could not get it together with food at all. So so I didn't like avocados. Okay, I know I'm going to get a lot of slack for that too, but I didn't like them at all. So what I did is I started putting them in burgers, right, regular hamburgers. I started hiding them in chicken and rice, and then it took me about a year until I finally liked it. And I was so proud because now that I could, I was able to eat it in everything. But then a crazy story happened, and I think that this would be an interesting story to share. I was actually running in the forest behind our house with my dog. I have a German Shepherd, and I felt a sharp ping on my foot, and I thought like maybe I stepped on a branch or something. So I'm like, why is it on the top of my foot? So I turned around while I was running. I never stopped, and I saw there was a coiled snake, a copperhead, which is a venomous snake, just hissing at me with its tongue out. And I realized, holy crap, I just got bit. And so I pushed my dog out of the way. We ran out of the forest. Took my phone while we were running. I lost her leash somewhere there. Called 911 and said, "Hey, I got bit by a venomous snake. Come get me. I'm in. This is my address." And I made it to the front office, and then the emergency guy came and he looked at my foot, and I started seeing it starting to swell up. And he says, "Oh, we got a patient here with 3 snake bites." I'm like, 3? I just got bit once. What are you talking about? And I looked, and sure enough, there were 6 fang marks on my foot. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God. So basically, the reason why I'm telling this story, because I went to the hospital. They tried to give me the pain med. They wanted to give me the antivenom. I refused everything. I said, "Hey, I'm on a wicked diet, and I'm on a wicked regimen of exercise. I am going to be fine." And it was painful as, oh Lord. I mean, I was screaming, and I mean, my eyes were drifting all over the place. It was really bad.
Mm.
I've never experienced pain like that, but I made it. Interestingly enough, though, the reason why I bring up this story is because somebody actually gave me avocado to eat while I was there, because I figured, hey, I might as well eat healthy here, right? I'm not going to have their hospital food. So I ate a raw avocado whole, but the venom started getting into my system and it made me throw up. And
Ew.
then I got this terrible view of avocados all over again.
Oh man, so you got to start at square one. Yeah.
And I
Oh,
started again. But the story ends well because I worked on it again for a couple more months and I'm back in business with avocados.
nice. So how did you recover from the snake bite? Because like we don't have snakes like that up here that are venomous. So how does that work? Like you just how long did it take for you to recover?
Okay, so that's another great point. So I asked the doctor, what's this going to be like? And he said, well, it's going to take 7 months until the symptoms go away. I could not believe that. I thought like a couple of days or whatever. I mean, the pain was terrible, but it didn't seem like the type of thing that lasts, right? But apparently it does. It eats away the tissue in the body, so it like start tearing away at my bones and my ligaments and veins, and it's very corrosive, and that all that needs to heal. So he said, you're not going to begin feeling better for 2 weeks. But 2.5 days later, I started to feel better. And he said, you're not going to be able to walk for a few months. 2 weeks in, I was able to start walking. And one month in, I was able to walk normally. And about 2 days in or 3 days in, I was already bench pressing on my bed. I couldn't make it to the bench press because the pain was so incredible to stand up. It was like it's like a blowtorch on my foot constantly.
Mm.
But I was able to bench press. I got some weights and I was just pressing them because, like I dealt with struggle when I was a kid, dealing with weakness and asthma and allergies and other things, and working out. So I'm committed. I'm not going to let this stop me. So that's really what helped the comeback. I used whatever physical therapy tips I knew to keep my foot moving. I used a deep tissue massager that I'm a big fan of, by the way, in general, and it just nourished me back to fitness.
Wow. Yeah, I think that it's so true. Like when you talk about struggle, were you the one that wrote like in the Facebook group that you wanted you had to have something to struggle against?
Yes,
Right? So like you thrive in that environment. And
yes,
was there something that happened to you when you were young? Like you talked about the asthma and like, share what you want to share, but is there anything else that happened that made you that way? Because I know my husband's a bit that way. He's got asthma really bad and he would have to go to the hospital for like 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall to just like get his lungs cleaned out and stuff. And the
wow,
things that he puts up with, I'm like he'll be wearing a backpack, for example. It's just like it's bugging him. I'm like, well, let's adjust. He's like, no, it's fine. I'm like adjust it, like make it more comfortable, right? But he's used to struggling. He did tree planting too, and he was one of the top planters on the crew because he just would like go, go, go. He actually ended up hurting his shoulder really bad because he was like just it's that constant motion, right? Where you stick that
right.
spade in the ground and you move it. Anyways, but like so like sometimes it can be a detriment because you push too hard. But anyways, like what else went on with you that made you so much wanting to struggle? Because I mean, you didn't take pain medication. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It is crazy. So basically, what did it for me was, if I look back at my childhood and mostly how I felt, what I internalized, is that I was weak. I was not focused. I felt like my years didn't matter. Like my 10 years from like, I don't know, like six to or 15 years from six to like 20 something, that it was just like a malaise. It was a haze. I kind of was tired always. I couldn't quite do enough in school, and I didn't feel like I showed up. And I was so frustrated because all the people, all the family, the relatives, the friends that I knew, I didn't feel like they knew me. And what exercise and excellent nutrition gave me a chance is to really show up and take away all the things that were holding me down. Also, I have eight siblings. Okay, so nine children total with my parents is 11. It's a big family, so we got like seven middle children. Okay, so
Yeah.
I was the third oldest, so I still count to the middle children. So you get a little bit of an independent streak, a little bit of a stubborn, and also kind of you can get lost in the crowd. So that's what gave me the iron to struggle, like to be known, to show up, to be strong, to be healthy. That just insatiable drive.
Mm. It's so interesting that you said that because in my family there's six, and of course I have six kids as well, and so six, like, oh my goodness, there's eight people in your family. That's so much. Well, you had 11. That's even more. And I think a lot of people think of big families as a disadvantage, like, oh, you didn't get as much attention or whatever. But I think like you're talking about, like, I had to compete. Like people wonder why do you talk so fast, Carla. Well, I think part of it is because I had a lot to say, and I better say it quick before the next kid had something to say. And Carla, why do you eat so fast? Because if I don't get that, they're going to eat the rest of it. And then, I'm not going to get my share. So I think,
Right.
there's a lot of things I think, well, whether you have a big family or small family, like it's not as important, but I just wanted to notice that because yeah, I think it's interesting when you have big families because I sometimes felt that same way because I was the fourth of six. So I was, yeah, kind of in the middle. And so I had to kind of fight hard to like be able to be heard.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that fully. And also, my community was very strictly religious. I would say, not in the sense of like, oh, this is fun, I want to be a part of this, but in the sense of like, you have to do this or you're bad or you don't fit in. And I love religion and spirituality, and I relate to it. And I admire other people's faiths, and I admire when it makes them a better person. But the way that I felt it was kind of forced down your throat, and you better not be yourself, otherwise there's no place for you. So basically, I that became a fire that is unextinguishable, that pushed with exercise and nutrition and the snake bite and any other thing that's going to come up.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I think like it would be interesting to talk more about like, yeah, the whole kind of faith piece sometime, like I find that so fascinating because I think a lot of people get really turned off from faith, like any kind of religion, because they really feel like, yeah, like it was shoved down their throat. Like I've talked to so many people, Simone, who are like that. Like they're just like yeah, they just don't they're just so turned off by religion. So if I even talk about God or what, they're just like, "Oh, I don't want to hear it," right? And but I think too, like I had to come to the place where I made my faith my own. It was my relationship with God. It wasn't something that my parents did or the church, or it was my relationship with God. And so that is, I think, what's different. And I don't consider what I do a religion at all. I think of it just as that relationship. Like I talk to God, like,
Wow.
we're tight. Like God and I are tight, like that's kind of how that's how it is. So it's very different than religion, but I think everyone's had so many different experiences with it, right?
Yeah. I think that it actually, to feed into your point beautifully, is that I think that religion helped me see like a holistic picture of health and fitness. That like
Mhm.
the medical view of health and fitness is a really reductionist view, right? What we do is we isolate one vitamin, one nutrient, and say, okay, this is how you get healthy. This is how you're going to protect your bone mass or whatever. Eat this vitamin. Here's a pill. Here, buy this.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you're having pain here. Take this pill. This drug is going to help you.
Yeah.
And because they're isolating one thing and they have a short-term goal in mind, and they don't care because the other alternative is difficult and it takes a long time, and that's hard for people to commit to because it's difficult. So that helped me realize, like, wait a second, like our bodies are meant to work, the environment is meant to work. We can fuel ourselves with beautiful, nourishing food, and it's like a spiritual thing for me. I'm giving my body what it was meant to have and letting it develop the way it's meant to, so I can do what I have to do in the world, so you could do what you have to do in the world, and you deserve it on a spiritual level. And it helped me connect and realize how beautiful nature is, how beautiful God is, how beautiful animals are when like viewed in that full picture. So otherwise, I might have just focused on just exercise and never kind of quite got it.
Is that your message to the world, Shimon, or what's your message to the world?
My message to the world is that, but also is that you can have it. You can take it all. You can have what you want. You don't have to dream and try to be like, oh, I want to get to this sort of fitness one day, or I've been thinking about it, or oh, I kind of resigned, I give up. You can have absolutely whatever you want in life and
Mhm.
in exercise. You can be free of disease, free of chronic disease. You can beat your obesity. You can have extreme fitness. You can go ahead and run a 5 minute mile. You can bench press 65s. You know, it's what's possible for you is completely up to you. If you get yourself on a good path, or you get in touch with a coach like Carla, myself, or the other excellent coaches out there, let Carla be the Moses that guides you through the wilderness, right? There's so much amazing things to be gotten through exercise, through nutrition. And I want you to have a juicy life. I want you to have what you want in life and not settle. And all those things that you wished you had, that you could have had, they're available. It just takes a transformation of what you think is possible, and a healthy eating style and explosive athletic nutrition,
Yeah.
exercise, to say.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, Shimon. That is like that's a really powerful message, and that's something that I would, I could that totally resonates with me because I'm always telling people like, so what are your goals? Well, let's get you there. They're like, well, I don't know, I'm not really this way, and I struggle with this. It's like, no, let's do it. But I really feel too like it's like the people that are listening, like I'm not trying to say like because you're kind of stuck in this place that you're somehow lesser than. I mean, it's not really your fault that you're maybe eating a lot of like food that's not healthy for you because it's so tasty, right? Like the scientists do all the research to make it as tasty as possible, to make it so that you want to crave it, right? Just like Facebook makes you want to check your notifications. The way this food is designed,
Yeah,
it makes you want to eat more and more and more. It never totally satisfies you. You always want more. And there's so many things set up and it's all about making everything as comfortable as possible, right? Cushy chairs, so chairs that move around, so you don't even have to get up and grab something, right? Like we're both sitting in cushy chairs that move around, like like everything is set. Our vehicles, right? Like now they're the vehicles that can practically drive themselves. Like it makes it so you can basically sit down and do nothing, and everything will be done for you. And oh, maybe you could take this pill or take these vitamins and minerals so that you can still eat all the stuff you want, but still get your vitamins, right? Um, yeah, no, that's a great message.
thank you. Yeah, come on and struggle. It's a beautiful place, and the fruits of the labor are unavailable anywhere else.
Yeah, you can't just take a quick pill. So Shimon, what are some of your goals for 2021? Do you have some goals either like physically or spiritually or for business or whatever?
Sure. So that's awesome. So I have to do a little thinking here in terms of outside of exercise and fitness. But in exercise and fitness, I can tell you pretty easily. Okay. So I want to run a 5 minute mile easily. So right now I can do it, but I got to try really hard.
Hmm.
I want to be able to just get out of bed and do it like it's nothing. and I want to be able to increase bench press. Right now, I'm maxing out at 65s on two singles. I don't want to get higher. I don't know what but I want to get higher. And I used to not care about those things. I used to just do athletic, explosive exercises, complex that are functional, and that's the core of what I do, 100%. But it's actually, I realize it's really powerful to find like these benchmarks, like the NFL Combine, try to run a 40-yard dash. I want to start trying these things out because be like, wait a second, like Shimon, you can actually do this. Like that's what I realized. I didn't train for the 5-minute mile. I just trained myself the way I normally do. But I hopped on the treadmill. I said, let's see what happens. Let me bring it up to 12 miles per hour. Let me see what I can do in 5 minutes. And I did it. And I was like, oh my God, this is available. And it helped me push. So in those areas, I want to keep doing that. And I want to do group sessions. I love group sessions in person. So hopefully that's going to be available soon because the energy is incredible. And it's more easily able to transfer over the potential and the life that I try to exude with exercise and nutrition when I'm in person with somebody. So that I admire a lot. So I want to do that. And then in spirituality and faith, I want to just be in synagogue more. I want to meet people more. I want to talk to them there. I want to see how other people's religions are. I want to like just be involved and visit them. And I really just want to share in the beauty that's out there. And I know I'm not supposed to do those things. I'm supposed to stay to my faith or whatever, but I love it. But I actually really want to get to know other people too.
Cool. Yeah, those are great. All right. Yeah. And so you're thinking you want to do group exercise then? Like in a group. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's my jam. That's my jam, Shimon. That's like what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I do all group workouts. In fact, I have coaches that work one-on-one with people, but I normally don't. I do it in nutrition, but not in fitness. So yeah. So Shimon, where can people go to find you if they're like, this sounds really interesting? Where could they go?
So absolutely, come welcome. I'm on Facebook, Quick Fit Training. So you can just type that in. I'm also on Instagram, but Facebook is really where the magic happens.
Okay.
And you can just call me. I mean, my number is 973-405-3990. I'll shoot Carla my business card if you want. You can put that up there. Or just reach out to Carla, reach out to me, reach out to somebody. Like, we are here to help. This is a passionate industry. We're doing it ourselves because we love it, and we're absolutely. I feel lucky and honored to deal with some of the people that I have and to deal with you. So absolutely, come on in.
Yeah. Good. Thanks, Shimon. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for what you shared. And I look forward to having more conversations with you about nutrition. And I'm already been talking to you a lot about, like, not that I'm going to go vegan, but just to talk more about this. I love the idea of whole foods, and that's normally what I stick to as well. But there's so much, like when you get your nutrition dialed in, when you get your workouts dialed in, that like really optimizing your life, man, does that ever do stuff to your body, but to your mind, right? And talk about energy, right? Like I just exude energy because I eat well and I exercise and I like work on all the things, and I love it. And I get outside too. Getting outside is critical for me. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shimon. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Carla.
This episode is brought to you by my company, Power Fitness Online. We are a tight-knit fitness community, and we guide you every step of the way to get fit and stay fit through our live workouts, nutrition coaching, and incredible support team. Go to powerfitnessedson.com to learn more. Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a positive review on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Music, or wherever you're listening. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, I would love to see your comments. I would love to know what you think about this episode and interact with you. I love hearing from you. Once again, I'm Carla Rand, and this is The Carla Rand Show, and I can't wait to see you next week for our next episode.